Hey guys, this is my first lecture on Laplace Transform and Fourier Transform, and I will be uploading a series on Laplace Transform and Fourier Transform because this is very important for signal processing and a lot of other applications. So first we need to understand where Laplace Transform comes from. I'll be providing the link from where I got an explanation for this finally, where the equation came from. Okay, so we all know the Laplace Transform equation is f of t e to the power of minus st dt, right? Okay, so how did we even get here, right? There's no derivation or anything. I remember studying in college, but I did not get a derivation or any kind of explanation as to what and where did this equation just pop up from. It cannot have popped up simply out of nowhere, right? So it has to have come from somewhere, okay? And where it comes from will just like astonish you, okay? So the first thing you need to know is we are very much aware of the power series a n x of n, right? And we have read about the qualities of this particular power series, where it converges. So we know that it converges at modulus of x less than 1. I will not go to the explanation of this. I will cover this in a later part of the series, lecture series, or post it as a different series, okay? And so the first thing is to understand it is modulus. It converges for this constraint, and modulus meaning it converges between these two values, right? So that means the function actually exists or it converges. We are sure that it is going to be converging there, okay? So this is the first thing. And one more thing is the summation. The infinite sum series of this is a to the power of 1 minus x, and as you can know, it does not exist at x is equal to 1. The sum becomes infinity, right? So we don't want x becoming equal to 1. And one more thing is, if you notice, the summation series is from 0 to infinity. So that means this inequality will become 0x less than 1. So there are two things. So the inequality is 0x less than 1. The summation of this series is a1 minus x, right? The two things. And for convenience, I'll be rewriting this as an index of a of n, right? So these are nothing but coefficients, right? They can be 1 or 1 by n factorial. If they become 1, then you know that the summation is 1 by 1 minus x, and if it is 1 by n factorial, then the summation is e to the power of x series, correct? So we are well aware of this, correct? Okay, so now once we are aware of this fact, okay, so we will try to represent this equation in time domain now, and keep this constraint in mind because we will be revisiting this constraint once we move to time domain, okay? Let me just change this, sorry, just like it to be straight, and still not straight, great. Okay, now in time domain, n is t, integral is nothing but the sum, right? The sum becomes the integral, and okay, let me write it reverse, sorry, sigma becomes integral, right? And this equality still holds. So what do you write the summation series back as? So sigma n is equal to 0 to infinity, a of n, x of n can be in time, can be written as 0 to infinity, a of t, x to the power of t, correct? dt, summed over smaller intervals of time, right? So this is my series in continuous time domain, okay? So given this, we know we can rewrite x as e to the power of ln to the base e x, okay? And if you apply power of t on both the sides, on LHS and RHS, power of t, we get x to the power of t as e to the power of ln of x of t. I'm just skipping the base because we know it's to the natural logarithm, that is the base e, okay? So ln of x of t. Now we are aware of the constraint that 0x is less than 1, right? X is lying between, oh sorry, you cannot see, camera alignment is really bad. I really need to automate this. Okay, so 0 less than x less than 1. So that means we have, what we have done is we have equated x is equal to e to the power of ln of x, and we have taken a power of t on both the sides. So we have x power of t is equal to e to the power of ln of x whole to the power of t, right? So now it's visible. So 0 less than x less than 1 is a constraint that we had previously arrived at, right? So we are well aware of this constraint. Now let's take a natural logarithm on over this constraint. Okay, so that means we arrive at ln of x less than 0, and that means ln of x is actually getting negative, because when you go for minus 0.01 minus 0.02, it is going to be on the negative side. So this is on the negative side, right? So this is on the negative side. Since this is on the negative side, what we can do is, let's equate ln of x to a variable minus s. That means when this guy becomes negative, this guy will go positive, right? So s is just a linear variable which I'm equating ln of x to, right? You can see ln of x is minus s. So now this equation 1, as we can put it, equation 1 can be rewritten as 0 to infinity a of t e to the power minus st dt, right? Because ln of x is s, when we substitute back, it is nothing but minus s, right? So this is minus s, this becomes minus s, so x to the power of t is nothing but e to the power of minus st, right? And when you substitute back into this equation, we get this guy. Hope you're able to see it. Okay, so now you're able to see it. 0 to infinity a of t to the power of minus st dt, right? So we arrived at this equation. Now this can be rewritten as what we usually see. We can't write a function as a of t. We can, but yeah. Well, let's just go to the normal norm. E to the power of minus st dt, right? 0 to infinity f of t e to the power of minus st dt, and this is your Laplace transform that we all saw, that we all are taught without knowing this part. I mean, this particular derivation or anything like that. Okay, so this Laplace transform basically helps us to convert a lot of these functions into algebraic form, which is easier to solve and also understand its properties. So that is the main intention behind Laplace transform, and we will be going through its advantages, disadvantages. I mean, I don't know about the disadvantages, but there's quite a lot of advantages, specifically in control systems, signal processing, everything. And Laplace transform subdivision, we'll be discussing about the Fourier transform. So next lecture series, we will be discussing about how to derive the Laplace transform, and Laplace transform for the exponential function, for the sine function, cosine function, or any such cos h function, sine h function. And also we will be trying to understand how to do integration by parts. So that means we need to know the product rule of integration. Okay, so that also I'll be discussing. If you do not know, I'll be discussing it in the video, but if you do know, it is well and good. It'll just be a revision for you. So stay tuned. I'll be posting my next lecture on Laplace transform, and we will be doing quite a bit of mathematics and its derivation, try to understand what S actually stands for and how does it plot graphically, and everything gradually we'll learn through in the series. Thank you and stay tuned.